Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am so stoked to bring this video to you today. So excited. I just got this knife in the mail and I didn't even clean it up. I haven't touched it because I'm so excited to bring it to you. And it's not because this knife is at least 84 years old. It's not. It's this knife right here. Not this one. This one right here. It is a fantastic knife. You're going to love this knife. And you might think, what's the big deal? You know, it's just another utility knife. This is a utility knife. This is not a utility knife. It's a different reason. Matter of fact, it's a couple of reasons. And so I hope you join me in the video to find out what's the deal.
I'm trying.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to kill this thing in my wrist. This ganglion cyst.
I don't think it's alive.
I'm not going to do this for you. I'm doing it for me.
Hey, welcome back to the Fortified Castle. Hi to all my viewers. Bonjour, privet, guten tag, hola, ciao, konnichiwa, and good day, mate, to my foreign viewers. And today, we're going to be talking about this knife right here. Before we do that, I want you to look at the top of this screen, and up there, you see the channel heading for Tar Heel Steel Knives. Man, that's a good channel, guys. Have you checked him out? Have you checked this guy out? Solid review videos on knives. A lot of different content. You need to check him out. And what about this guy over here? Have you checked out Mountain Ajar? Wow, I just posted one of his videos on my community page. This guy's got it going on, man. I mean, he is innovative. He's fun. And he loves to do videos and he loves people. You should check him out too if you haven't done that already. And a shameless promotion for me is tomorrow, Tuesday, we're going to have a live show. Myself and Patty's Potato Peeler are going to be talking about work back on knives. And let's see. Actually, I think I got one right here. I just used in a video. Let me find it. And this is what we're going to be talking about. This is a worked back. They're also called milled backs. And we'll also be talking a little bit about stand-ins on blades and bolsters and those type of things, the history of them, whether you like them or not. You know, I like to get the audience involved in these, and so we're going to be asking questions. Hopefully you'll give some input. So without further ado, let's talk about this knife. I am so excited about it. All right, so you can see there's a couple different knives in this video than the introduction. And these are closer to what this knife is. This is a cattle knife by Case, a 45 pattern. Cattle knife is a large frame knife, usually around 3.5 to 3 3/4 inches. Most fall right at 3 5/8. And you can also have a smaller cattle knife. Those are around 3 3/8. Here's one right here. Doo-doo! This is a little tiny one. You see it right there. And this is another one right here by Buffalo Knife Company. Pretty obscure company right there. You can see it. Cattle knives can have a clip blade like this, or it can have a spear point blade. Always they have a usually always they have a spade blade. Oh man, I can't find it. That was not well planned, was it? And then the third blade can be any number of blades. It could be a sheepshead blade, it could be a leather punch, it could be a pen blade. So usually they have a spade blade on them. That's what makes them a cattle knife. So, boop, boop. Let's get these out of the picture. Let's look at this. So what makes this knife so special? Okay, so let's turn her over. Whoa! It's a 3-spring knife. So 3-spring knives are pretty scarce, okay? You could really say they're rare. You just don't have very many 3-spring knives. You see them fairly regularly, though, on the internet, but you rarely come across them on vintage knives. Now, I'm showing you some pictures up there. I'm not going to do that yet. Let me show you the other special thing about this knife. When you turn it over, ta-da! You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blades. 5 blades in this knife. That and the 3-spring make it really, really special. Show you some pictures up there right now. You can see some 5-bladed knives. These are all recent knives, so this is stuff that knife makers are doing now. You can find quite a few different 5-bladed knives. You can find 3 backspring knives. They started making them in the 70s again to sell to collectors. But the vintage ones are really, really scarce. And you can see here, this is a beautiful 5-bladed cattle knife. When I open this up, there's a couple problems with this knife. One, you can see right there, it just says high carbon steel USA. Isn't that where the main tank stamp usually goes in a knife? Yeah, it usually goes right there on the main blade. If you turn it over, there's nothing there. Here's another problem with this knife. I got, what is that, 25%? Maybe a little more than 25% of the cover on this knife is broken. This is genuine jig bone on the knife. And it's got a little one here. But let's keep looking at this knife. Here's your spade blade. Nothing there. Nothing there. These blade geometries are pretty good. A couple little bobbles right there. This knife is in overall pretty good condition. Let's look at this. You don't see nothing there. So we did the spade blade. What else do we got here? Here's a pen blade. Again, nothing on the pen blade here. Haven't touched this knife. I have not cleaned this knife up. I can tell you right now, this thing's going to be a mirror finish when I'm done with this knife. It'll, if I do it. I may decide not to do it on this one. Here is a clip blade. Again, there's no tang markings on the knife. So that's kind of disappointing, right? Because what does that mean? We have an unidentified knife. It's got a, actually this is almost complete. So the point, there may be just this much missing right there. So the point comes to the knife right about here. So very little of that is broken off. You know, I don't buy a lot of these broken blade knives. You know that. I definitely don't buy a lot of these broken scale knives, although this is easy to fix. I just don't do it. I've got a bunch I need to fix now, and I just don't find the time to get it done. Okay, so you have a knife here that doesn't have a tang stamp that you can identify the knife. But just looking at it, it's bone, so we can be pretty sure that this knife dates before the 1960s, and it does. And there's actually a hint on this knife of who made this knife. And if you look at right here, it says high carbon steel. So who used to put high carbon steel on their knife? You actually can find it on a number of knives, but Camillus used to put high carbon steel on their knives. And this knife right here actually used to have an etching on here. And I know that because I've done a little bit of research on this knife, and I was able to figure out who made this knife. So I know who made this knife. And I'll give you another hint. Here's another hint. That's not a hint. It's right here. So let me pull this out. And if you flip this over, whoa, it's a spiral punch. It's written on there, spiral punch. Isn't that cool? Because we're not smart enough to figure out that's a spiral punch. So who used to do that? It's actually in pretty good shape. It's still got its point on it. Yeah, that's right, guys. Camillus. So this is a Camillus made 5-blade cattle knife, 3-spring. Okay, 3-spring. Not all of the 5-bladed knives came in 3 springs. That's what makes this so special. So these things are very rare. You just don't come across 5-bladed cattle knives, 3-spring cattle knives. As a matter of fact, I couldn't find another one that was made pre-1940, a vintage one. You can find 5-bladed sow belly knives. You can find 5-bladed premium Stockmans, but you don't find any 5-bladed cattle knives. Now I'm sure maybe somebody made them, maybe Empire, maybe one of the old companies, I don't know. But I've been through an awful lot of catalogs. I can't find any representation anywhere of another company that made a 5-bladed cattle knife. So I'm going to show you what this knife looked like brand new. If you look at the picture, that's this knife right here. That's this knife right here. And if you look at the other picture, you can see on the blade there, that blade etching says Craftsman Stay Sharp. Was etched on the blade originally. You can see that originally on this blade, it had a etching right here that said Craftsman Stay Sharp. It's a 95-37 pattern. And you can also see it was called a farmer's mechanic knife. And so I'm not an expert on these Craftsman knives. I'm not even an expert on Camillus knives. I have a few Camillus knives, but from what I understand, this this tang stamp right here, high carbon steel, was placed on these knives in the 30s to the 40s, and that would be the date on this knife. Interestingly, you can see this is nickel silver bolsters on here. How can you tell? Well, it's the same color as the nickel silver. I'm sorry. It has nickel silver dividers, liners, and bolsters, and that's because you can tell because they're the same color as the bolsters. So if it was stainless steel or carbon steel, it would look the same color as the carbon steel liners on this knife. And the blade tells you it's high carbon, not stainless steel. So at this time frame, Camillus used another company to produce their stainless steel knives right here. And this is a stainless scout knife produced by Stainless Cutlery Company, which was a subsidiary of Camillus. And this is in stainless steel right here. The bolsters are nickel silver. You have brass liners. So it's really, really a fantastic knife. And these are rare knives. So I'll put one more picture up there. There's another couple pictures here I'll show you before we wrap this up. So you can see here, this is a utility knife made in the, I believe it was made in the 60s by Ulster. And again, it's that same pattern as a cattle knife, but it's a utility knife with 5 blades. And that's pre or post 1940. And then here's another one. Again, it's a post 1940 knife. So these things are just very hard to come across a knife like this. And that's why I went ahead and got it with this cracked blade. Actually, being a Camillus, it's not going to be hard to find a blade like this that I could replace it, or I could just reprofile the blade. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm really inclined to replace that blade, and I will patch this with another piece of bone that looks very much like this. I have a lot of knives that have worn out bone like this, and yeah, this thing will look brand new when I'm done. So I'll also take you through that process as I do it. So it'll be a good video. All right. Thanks for watching. Man, this is a cool knife. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, join us tomorrow in the live show and check out those 2 cats I shared with you. Tar Heel Steel, good channel, and Ajar, Mountain Ajar, another really, he's a really interesting cat, Mountain Ajar. I really enjoy going to his channel. So thanks again. We'll talk to you later.